Rabotai, Shalom Aleichem, welcome back. We're studying this week. We're learning and preparing for Shabbat Parshat Chukat, Balak. So this week we're going to catch up to Eretz Yisrael. This week's Parshat Balak and Eretz Yisrael, and we're catching up. So the question that was once asked to me, I didn't see this anywhere as an answer, but today I was thinking about it, and these machshavas came to my mind. So, if it's wrong, you don't have to listen to it. Just hear me out. So, question is, why do we wait so long to catch up to Eretz Yisrael? Why couldn't we combine a different parsha? Why on the first week after Shavuot? Why don't we do two parshiyot? Why do we wait so long?
Because there is in the
what can be combined and what can't be combined. Okay, I hear you.
But always we have to do it according to. We have to come to Vaitchana, not Vaitchana, to Devarim
before
before Tisha B'Av.
Right. I hear you. So if you do a parsha earlier, you still will come in it. You'll have Balak like and you want it.
They did it already a long time ago.
Some Yemenites read only Chukat,
okay.
Balak, and then Balak. Next following week. And they meet each other in Matot and Masa.
They catch up that way.
They catch up on Matot Masa.
Okay.
But split.
So let me give you my machshavot of why it was done this way, Dafka. Number one, I think it's important to realize as we Jews in Chutz La'aretz are always going to have to catch up to Jews in Eretz Yisrael. Meaning the kedusha and tahara of those of the Jews in Eretz Yisrael is something that we're so far away of that it takes us time to catch up. And when do we catch up with? In Parashat Chukat Balak. What happens in Parashat Balak? They're trying to curse the Jews. So some Jews think I live in America and I'll be safe. No. If the Jews in Eretz Yisrael are having a problem, the Jews in Chutz La'aretz will also have a problem. Chukat Balak. The Chok is Balak. What keeps us all together is the same, is that we realize that Esav Sonet Yaakov, right? Esav Sonet Yaakov is halacha, that the Goyim hate the Jews. It's just what it is. And as such, we have to remember, not to say that there's many good Goyim that help, and they're so nice, but unfortunately, many have an ingrained hatred that they don't even know where it comes from. And that's the Chok of Balak. And that is equal both in Eretz Yisrael and in the rest of the world. So that's my machshavot. You don't have to take it. I didn't bring it from any sefer, but something I was just thinking about. So you're really going to have to let me...
Your own chidush.
Yeah, my own chidush. So you'll have to let me pass through with it. Okay, Rabotai, there's famously in this week's Parashat Chukat, we have the pasuk, Zot HaTorah, Adam ki yamut be'ohel. This is the Torah, a person who dies in a tent. And the Gemara, Mesechet Berachot, on Daf Samach Gimel Amud Bet says, if a person wants to keep Torah, wants to learn Torah and really have Torah, he has to kill himself for it. Because it says, Zot HaTorah, Adam ki yamut be'ohel. And the famous mashal the Chafetz Chaim gives. Everyone knows this mashal, but it's good to say it over. There's this man, he's a businessman, very successful. Every day from morning to night, he's working in his business. He can be whatever you want him to be, okay? And he's running back and forth and doing and this and that. And one day, he's starting to comb his hair. He's combing his beard, mirror, no mirror. And he sees in his brush, he sees some white hairs, okay? He sees some white hairs.
And he didn't learn anything until
he says, oh my gosh, look at this. I'm getting very old already. And what's going to be in the next world? Olam ha'emet, olam haba. I never do anything for Torah. My tefillah, I go to shul late in the morning. I leave early. Like my father, you should live and be well, always would say about people who come late and leave early, is that they see themselves, as they're coming in, they see themselves coming out. That's how fast they daven. Yes, a circle, a revolving door. They come in and out at the same time, right? He says, I daven so fast, so quick, this, that, I don't have time to learn what's going to be with me. My hair is turning gray. Once I was giving this mashal, and it was in Bukharin Shul, okay, in Queens, in Ornatan, and a guy told me, Rabbi, I have no white hair, but I go bald. Okay, what is if I go bald? What should I think then? Right? I told him, I said, this is further. You're already too late. Okay, I said, you're already too late. So the guy said, I have to do something. I have to start doing some Torah, some mitzvot, some asim tovim. I have to get on Olam Haba. The next morning, he decided right after tefillah, he's staying in the shul, he's staying in the Beit Knesset, in the Beit Midrash, and he's going to learn. He's going to learn for a few hours. He sits in the Beit Midrash learning. In front of his store is waiting the delivery trucks, is waiting customers. They're all waiting. An hour passes, hour and a half. So they try calling him, doesn't answer. They go to his wife. His wife says, oh my gosh, what happened? Why is he not here? She's all worried. She quickly opens the door. She starts helping everybody out. And she goes, she doesn't know what to do. She's trying to call the police. 3 hours later, he walks in. She says, where were you? He doesn't answer. He just gets to work. No, she figures her husband doesn't want to talk to her today. Fine. Happens sometimes. So he waits. She goes the next day. Again, the next day, customers are banging on the house door. Where's the man? Why is it closed? She says, what's going on here? 2-3 days has happened. She says, I got to get to the bottom of this. So early in the morning when he leaves for tefillah, she follows him. She sees he goes to the shul. Chai. She's waiting. Tefillah ends. She sees him sitting down, take out a sefer. He's learning. She tells somebody, call him out. Tell my husband I need him right away. She gets him out of the Beit Midrash. And she says, what are you doing?
Start yelling at him.
What happened to you? What, you became crazy? Something hit you in the head? What happened to you? He says, what do you mean? I'm learning. She says, I see that, but we have a business. We have family. We have mortgage. We have car lease. We have all these different things. How are you learning in the morning? What are you doing? He says, I got to tell you something. During these first 3 hours every day, you know what happened to me? I'm dead. What will happen if I'm dead and you have to pay the mortgage? What are you going to do? She said, I'll go to business. I'll do what I have to do. He says, you know what? Every day you do what you have to do, and then you're going to have a Tchiyat HaMetim. Every day after 3 hours after Tefillah, you're going to have a miracle. I'm going to have Tchiyat HaMetim, and I'm going to come help you. So 3 hours I'm dead, and then I'm going to come. And she got the message. He got the message. Sometimes the real way to only learn is when you kill yourself for it. You shut yourself off to the world. There's no way to learn Torah with your iPhone in your hand, going through different things, and the Torah in front of you. Learning Torah means I kill myself, meaning this is the only thing in front of me. I'm dead. I remember many years ago, I was in Yeshiva Torah Vedat. It was my first or second year in Beit Midrash. There was a manal in the Beit Midrash, Harav Skula, Zecher Tzadik L'Bracha. I was zeichet to take him, to give him many rides, to go many places and stuff like that. And he once called me into the office. Listen, I wasn't the best bacher in yeshiva. I was a good lamdan. I learned very well, but attendance was something that could have been better. So Rav Skula called me into the office, and he calls me into the office, and he says, "Moshe, where are you? I have the attendance. You're coming late. You're not here. You're not this and that." So I gave him the excuses that you give. My mother needs help, my father needs help, my this needs help, my that needs help. He told me this Maisa. And he said, for Torah, Adam ki yamut ba'oel. You have to be dead. You have to be dead. You have to be able to fully focus on learning Torah. Everything else has to be shut off. Not the entire day. You don't have to say I'm dead the entire day. You have obligations of chavot, but you also have chavot of Torah learning. Rav Chaim Kanevsky, Tzechasedik Bacha, he was at his son's engagement, and in the middle he had to leave. It was Sheh Barachot engagement, whoever it was. The story goes, he told the other sign, he said, I have to leave now. They said, it's the middle of the Simcha, how are you leaving? He said, I have chavot. I have obligations. So the in-laws thought chavot meaning monetary obligations. Money. He owes people money. They said, we'll help you out. Tell us how much you owe. He says, no, this you can't help me. He says, why not? He says, I have chavot of limudim. I have obligations to learn. The Rambam, the Talmud Bavli, the Talmud Yerushalmi, Tanakh itself, Halacha, Shulchan Aruch, all these different things. I have chavot every day to learn. I can't stick around. It's an obligation. Like many great Rabbanim say about the Daf Yomi. More than the Daf, it's what? It's the Yomi. It's the Tamid. Every single day, I spend time learning Torah. I make it a chov. I make it an obligation that I don't lose. Because if a person doesn't do that, he's not going to learn Torah. The Hafetz Haim, not only did he say this mashal, the Hafetz Haim exemplified this. He did this. Be'emet, he did this. Everyone knows the Havetz Chaim at some point had a grocery store. You know this? He had a grocery store. He was such an honest grocer. Story goes that one time a person bought something and forgot it in the store. Okay? It happens, by the way. One time I bought something from a store. I forgot it in there. I came back. The guy said, it's gone. Havetz Chaim, he took that object and he went from door to door to find who was the one who bought it. Took the item, went to find who bought it. Okay? Not like when I came back to the store and I told him, I bought 2 sushis and I left it here. I forgot it. I meant to put it on the sign. I didn't put anything. He says, it's gone already. I don't know how to tell you. He left. It's gone. Right? Havetz Chaim, no, it's not gone. He went and he found the guy. Havetz Chaim, at some point, he said, listen to his wife, I can't continue to manage the store. You manage it, and I'll do the books, do the bookkeeping. How much comes in, how much comes out, what we owe, what we this, what we that. At some point, he said to his wife, I'm sorry, I can no longer help you with this either. And if we can't continue to manage the store, we'll have to close it down. And Be'emet, that's what happened. He closed down the store. She couldn't manage it himself. And he said, I can't do it. I got to learn Torah. He put out Mishnah and Berurah and all these other Sfarim. And the money he made from distributing the Sfarim, that's what they survived on. And he was also very careful about that too. He would go through every sefer to make sure everything was printed right, that there was no extra ink, there was no missing pages and stuff like that. He didn't want to sell anything that was a dud, anything that wasn't good. The Havetz Chaim taught us a mashal, taught us an example. You have to be ready to kill yourself for Torah. Just a side story, there was a guy in Chicago that he didn't grow up in yeshiva. And he was getting close to retirement age. And he decided, I want to be able, during my retirement age, to learn Torah. I don't want to be like those guys that sit in front of the apartment buildings playing shesh-besh, and shachmat, chess, and backgammon, and these games all day, or just sit there and watch. You see sometimes these people say, I don't want to do that. I want to be using my faculties. I want to be learning. But I never learned in yeshiva. So he took a sabbatical. He took a year off from work. And he went to Yeshivat Torah Vedat, and he went into Rav Pam's shir. For a whole year, he sat in Rav Pam's shir. And Rav Pam would use him as an example, a Musar example to all the kids. Look, this guy came here to learn Torah because he wants to be able to learn Torah. You're in Yeshiva, have the chance to grab every moment. The guy went back to work the year after that, and he passed away. He was like 52, 53. And everyone said, look, if he didn't take that year to go learn Torah, he never would have learned Torah. And he would have gone into Olam HaEmet without ever learning Torah. Adam ki yamut ba'olam. You have to take the time off to learn Torah. You have to make times. That's why Kuveya Itim LeTorah is so important. It's not just, I learn Torah when I get around to it, which is also very important. But that was the Chazon Ish's answer. Chazon Ish was a young man, and they asked him, I think Rav Chaim Ozer asked him, when do you learn Torah? And Chazon Ish said, whenever I have time. Okay? So now you have to understand the Chazon Ish's answer. Chazon Ish, he made the time to learn Torah. So all the time he made, he learned Torah. Some people answer this, Rabbi, I learn whenever I can. And they never learn Torah because they never can. Right? That's what Pirkei Avot says. Don't wait to say, when I be free, I'll learn Torah. Because guess what? You'll never be free. No such thing as freedom. Everybody has chovot. What is your chov? What is your obligation? That's for you to choose. Your obligation, Pirkei Avot says, if you take the all of Malchut Shamayim, you take the yoke of heaven, what is taken away from you? The yoke of the government, the yoke of shibud, the yoke of everything else. You have to put yourself in the right place. Abotai, I want to end two things on this topic before we move to the next topic. Number one, the Gemara, Masechet Tamid, tells us Alexander the Great once came to the Chachamim and he said, if a person really wants to live, what should he do? Masechet Tamid, Lamed Bet Amud Aleph. I want to live, lahayot. What do I have to do? The Chachamim told him, you know what you have to do? He must kill himself. No, you must die in order to live. What does that mean? Chachamim told Alexander the Great, in order to live, you have to die. What does this mean?
For the world disappeared.
He says very good. Not to that extreme, but he says as follows. A person most times is not living. We're running from one task to the other. I got to take care of this. I got to take care of that. Got to take care of this. Got to take care of that. Got to take care of this. Got to take care of that. By the time you look, you're 65 and you're in the mirror looking at yourself. You don't know what happened to you. Because I was always running. In order to live, you have to die. You have to stop. Not necessarily die in the sense of not being able to live, but to stop everything. Why do you think you have a Shabbat for? What's a Shabbat for? And we say it's me'en olam haba. Why is it olam haba? Because you stop. For once a week, we hope you stop. But some people, what do they do on Shabbat? They sleep the entire Shabbat. That's their stop. Quite recharging. You cannot sleep more than 8 hours. It doesn't help.
This Shabbat I didn't sleep, a little nap, the whole week was crazy.
Because you were thinking about it.
No, I'm not thinking about it. The headaches and this and that.
Let me explain to you what Shabbat was there for. Shabbat, by the way, this Shabbat afternoon is so long. There's so much you can do with it. Okay? Go to the park with the kids. Spend time with the wife. And guess what? You can still have 2 hours, if not more, to learn Torah. Okay? When am I going to learn Torah then? I give you guys an hour and 10 minutes. I spend 4 hours learning myself on Shabbat day. Okay? I get at least 5 hours in of learning Torah on Shabbat. Okay? On your own, also you have to learn tzaddik. Okay? You have to also figure it out. Make chavot. Beit Midrash is open. Nathaniel Halevi is here giving a shir before my shir. There's many places to go and learn. And you also have to take it on yourself. Don't always wait for the other guy to open the book. Open it up. Learn. Parkei Avot. In the summer, you can do many times over. Get a havutah. Sit down. You know your best havutah? Your wife, your son. Sit with them and learn.
Week to sleep on Shabbat.
You're wasting your time. Shabbat, Ben Ish Chai says, learning Torah on Shabbat is times 1,000. Imagine. So during the week you couldn't learn. Yeah, you were busy. The MTA was calling you here and there. I was traveling all over the 5 boroughs. But now, Shabbat, no one's calling you. 1 hour equals 1,000. Who's going to mess it up? So they told Alexander the Great, you want to live? Die. Stop for a moment. Stop. That's why our Chachamim tell us how important it is to take a vacation. Why take a vacation? Take your spouse, go on vacation. Why? Because you're always in the hustle and bustle of things. Your mind doesn't work. You're not in it. You're not living. You're stop getting through things. Both of you are partners in chores. But that's not what it's supposed to be. You're supposed to be Shalom Bayit, together living the life. You have to stop to do that. Okay? You have to take time out of life to live. To really live. And this doesn't mean just sitting in the backyard barbecuing and drinking a beer. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about using it for the right reasons. There's a Shevet HaMusar. The Shevet Musar tells us a story that happened in Izmir, Turkey. There's a sefer called Shevet Musar.
Shevet Musar?
Yeah. Rabbi Eliyahu HaKohen HaItamari. He lived in the year 1640 to 1729. He tells us a story that happened in Izmir, Turkey. There was unfortunately, a lot of Jews at that time in Izmir were very non-religious, and they did whatever they want. And there was one family, what we can call it, like a mafia. They were a Jewish mafia. And the head of the family, the Don, what you would call, right, in Italian, the Don.
Sanda.
Right, the Godfather. The Godfather, which is the English form of Don, I assume. Okay? Actually, my title at work is Director of Nursing, D-O-N. So I put like Don, right? No, Don Isaac Abarbanel. It's like Chashuv, it's a name. So anyway, the Don, this guy was dying. He was on his deathbed. The head mafioso. So they called the chief rabbi, Izmir, to come, and he's Jewish. On the end of the day, he's Jewish. So they wanted to do vidui with him.
Vidui?
To do. He's dying. To make vidui. Confessions, yeah. Final. Last will and testament, yeah.
No.
There's a special tefillah. Take out any siddur. Take out any siddur. And in it says when a person on his deathbed, he should say this vidui.
Lahzor b'tshuvah. At least before he's dead.
Yeah. I have it on my phone because someone actually texted me once and said, this guy is dying. Where is the vidui? So I was next to the siddur. I quickly sent to him the pictures of what the pages of what he should say. If you can't get to vidui, you say Shema Yisrael.
If you say everything going to be
if you mean it.
If you mean it. Say it from your heart.
But listen to the story, Rabotai.
Yeah.
So the chief rabbi, he comes there, and he sees this guy dying on the deathbed. And he says, listen, you did a lot of bad things in your life, right? He says, yeah. He says, listen, now is the time to be modeh on everything. Every single crime, every single thing you ever did, now it's time
Say you're sorry.
to say vidui. To say I'm sorry, to do all the things. But you have to say everything. So he started saying how he's a kid, he stole someone's lunch money, how he bullied somebody, how he did this, how he did that. And then he started gradually getting into extortion and killings and stuff like that. And all of a sudden, he stops. He stops confessing. And instead, he starts cursing Hashem. He starts throwing words at Hashem. So the chief rabbi says, what are you doing? We're middle making vidui, making a confession. What are you doing?
Making tshuva instead of making tshuva.
Yeah, he's making worse. So this guy says, Rabbi, I cannot help it. Standing right in front of me is a fiery angel that's telling me if I make one more confession, he's going to take his fiery sword and kill me. And the chief rabbi says to him, but you're dying anyway. The Satan not letting you do tshuva. Do it. He says, Rabbi, I can't. And instead, he started cursing more and more. He ended up dying with cursing HaKadosh Baruch Hu on his lips. Why? Because you think after 80 years, the Satan made you do all these sins.
He was doing so well.
You think that the last day the Satan's going to let you get it all done? 80 years, the guy worked on you. 60 years, the Satan worked on you to make all these sins. Yitzhara worked on you. And last minute, I'm going to clean myself. No. He's going to come there and he's going to mess you up. Therefore, the only way to really live is to start now. Pretend you're dead now. Realize that if I don't do tshuva now, it's going to be too late. Now it has to be done. Now I'm dead. That's what says. No one knows when they're going to die. Therefore, every day, do tshuva. Because you don't know what's going to be. And if you're going to wait too long, Satan already worked on you 60 years. He put so much investment in you. He put so much time and effort in you. He's going to let you just out off the hook. He did tshuva. Okay, put him into Gan Eden now. Olam Haba, he's good. No last minute. If you're going to wait the last minute to tshuva, it's never going to work.
So who's next done?
Well, I don't know. The story goes, that's as much as we have on the story. Now, what I want to talk about next, I will tell you, is really, it's an idea that comes from Rav Belsky. And as I'm thinking about the idea, I remember a similar idea that comes from the Ohev Yisrael, the after Rav, from a Hasidic source. So let's take a look at this idea from Rav Belsky, Zechat Tzedek Ubracha. We have a chumash here. Can we get a chumash? I just don't want to. Rabbi Shavach is here. I don't want to butcher all the words. I'm reading them without nekudot here. So if I have the nekudot, I have a better chance. So in this week's parasha, we have Parashat Balak, Chukat Balak. We have it. Open up Balak for me. Yashir Kayach. Rav Belsky, the Rosh Hashiva of Torah Medad, Zechat Tzedek Ubracha, a man I was zocheh to see a lot in the Beit Midrash, to learn from him Torah. I was not his Talmud in the classroom, in his shiur, but as a Talmud of the yeshiva, I get to speak to Rav Belsky many times, learn from him, ask him shilas and stuff like that. So I love to learn his Torah because I had a kesher to the Rosh Hashiva to a degree. He says that the theme of Parshat Balak, one of the themes, like the main idea over and over in Parshat Balak is the power of human sight, the power of being able to see. He says, look, the first word of the Parsha is Vayar Balak ben Tzipor. Balak saw. He is able to see. That's the first thing. Vayar Balak.
Many times.
Right, and then you have in the Parasha, when Bil'am comes and he wants Bil'am to curse the Jewish people, what do we say over there? So we're going to go to chapter 22, verse 41. Vayar misham ketze ha'am. Again, vayar misham. You should see from there. Then, in 23:13, the pasuk again says, El makom acher asher tir'enu misham, efetz katzeu tir'eh, v'chulo lo tir'eh. Again, see part of it, don't see all of it. Again, it has to do with seeing. In fact, when Bil'am is talking about who he is, right, and how he understands himself and describing himself. Very good. So first he says in 24:3, he says 24:3, he says Ne'um Bil'am beno be'or hagever shetum ha'ayin. That speaks the man with an open eye. Then he says in 24:16, he says Nofel uglui einayim, right? Fallen, yet he sees with eyes revealing. Again and again in the parasha, the theme is about seeing, looking, and stuff like that. In fact, there's a pasuk in Shmuel that says, "Ki lenavi," I don't have the kudot. "Ki lenavi hayom yikra lefanim haroeh." They used to call a navi a roeh. To what we call today a navi, a prophet, they call them a roeh. Also, the aleph, roeh.
Okay.
Or a chozeh. A chozeh is a seer. In the English word seer, that's what it means, to see. A prophet is a seer. He sees the future. So again and again, we have a lot about seeing and the power of sight in this parasha. And Rav Belsky, the Rosh Yeshiva's question is, what lesson are we to learn from this emphasis on the power of sight? So Rav Belsky starts off his answer as follows. Number one, Balak ben Tzipor, was he also a sorcerer and a magician and a wizard?
Yes.
All the Midrashim say he was.
Big one.
Why is it called Balak ben Tzipor? So he brings here from a sefer. I'm not familiar with the sefer, but it doesn't mean anything. Emek HaMelech. Okay, there's a sefer, Emek HaMelech. And in that sefer, it says, you know why he was called Ben Tzipor? He used magic, spells, astrology, to create a bird, Tzipor. He created a bird, which then he put kitoret with the bird. He gave like an offering. And that bird then told him the future. Balak was a magician. He was a wizard.
Yeah.
Sorcerer. He used dark magic. He knew things. So, says the Rosh Yeshiva, why does Balak need Bil'am to come? If he's a magician, he can also cast a spell on the Jewish people. Why does he dafka need?
He specialized on different things.
Very good. So you're answering good. So Bil'am and Balak were different specialties, right? He was the Ben Tzipor, and Bil'am was what? Bil'am.
He knew when Hashem.
So the Gemara says he knew the moment he got in.
The moment.
All right, the Gemara does say that. But let's listen what the Rosh Yeshiva
And
has
Harbe
to.
Nisu, a lot that were Nisu, and nobody could do it.
Let's look what he says. He says as follows. Balak understood that in order to curse or bless somebody, it requires, to curse or bless, it requires a special skill set. You have to have a special skill set to curse. Skill set, a certain midah, intelligence, a certain midah trait, a certain skill, a talent to be able to curse or bless someone. In order to do it, you have to be able to see that person intimately, to really know the shortish of the person. A lot of people, when we see people, what do we see?
The outside.
Very good.
What did you say?
The outside.
The outside.
You know
of
the guy with the beard, right? The exterior. He has the beard, and the peyot, the dark skin, the light skin, the eye like this, the eye like that. He wears the shirt. He works in this business. That's how you see a person. You can never bless or curse somebody like that. In order to give a bracha or to has shalom, give a klala to somebody, you have to be able to see them on a deeper level. That's why when Balak was explaining to Bil'am, he said, "Hine am yotzeh miMitzrayim." Hine chesed en haaretz v'hu yoshev mimeli. Right? He said, "There's a people who came out. Ki atzum mimeni." There are a lot. He's giving superficial explanations of who the Jewish people are. A lot of goyim today don't know who the Jewish people are. They know them as superficially. They understand they have a Torah, they have a Talmud, and they don't understand the deepness and the richness of the Jewish people. Bil'am, his power, what he meant, Shtuma Ayin, that he is Nofel Gu Einayim, what was this? He was able to see the shorish, the essence of a person. And when you're able to see in essence of a person, now, says the Rosh Yeshiva, you're able to curse or bless them. That's why not everyone can give a bracha. Why do you go to rabbis to get bracha? Because they don't see you externally. They see your neshama. They see your shorish. They can give you bracha. Rav Schwab says, when it says the pasuk, Lo taturu achrei levavchem v'acharei einechem, don't go after your heart, don't go after your eyes. He says, you know what this means? When you see somebody, what do you see? We see physical appearances, right? She looks pretty, right? She has blonde hair. Says Rav Schwab, if you really saw a person, for truthfully, you would see only their neshama. You're not going after your eyes. You're seeing not what you see externally. You see the internal neshama of the person. That's a whole different ball game. So says the Rosh Yeshiva, that was his power. Bil'am was able to see a person, and he was able to get to the shorish of the person, who he was. And then, says the Rosh Yeshiva, listen to this, Abutai. This is such an important...
We're talking about the person.
Listen
about
to this.
the nation.
Listen
How
to
can
this.
he see the nation?
Same thing with the nation.
No.
Essentially, listen to what he says here. I even highlighted this because it's so deep. Essentially, what Bilam was doing through his power of seeing deeply into a person was not so much giving him a bracha or a curse. He wasn't actually cursing them or blessing them when he saw them closely, but rather triggering the actualization of the inner essential potential of that person's character by seeing him clearly as either blessed or cursed. To explain, says Rav Belsky, when you get to see a person at his shorish, you can now see him in a good light or in a bad light. Once you know who this person is and what he has and what he can do, you can see him as a tzaddik, doing great things and becoming a great person and having great stuff. And that's how you give him the beracha, by seeing him and seeing him in that position. Or Chas Shalom on the other side, seeing him for who he is and finding his negatives and seeing that in him. And that brings him the klala. That brings him the curse. When contemplating a person's good characteristics, that potential for good was made actual by the very act of identifying it. And says Rav Belsky, I'll bring you proof. He says, the Gemara, Mesechet Berachot, Nun Vav Amud Aleph, tells us about dreams. There was a dream interpreter named Bar Hedya. Bar Hedya was a dream interpreter. You paid him money, he said good dreams. You didn't pay him money and asked him for dream interpretation, he gave you bad dreams. Famous story, Rava and Abaya, they both had the same dream. Yep. Right? Abaya paid for the interpretation, Rava did not. Abaya got good interpretation. Rava got bad interpretation, he didn't pay. How could that happen? Says Rav Belsky. You know what he did? This interpreter of dreams, he saw the person for who he was, took the dream and saw the bad parts of it, and saw him having those bad parts. And that gave him the klala. And when you paid him, he saw the good in you, and he saw the good in that dream, and he put it on that person.
Put so good in his pocket too.
You lined his pocket. He says, Bar Hedya's art was similar to what Bilam tried to do. He thought deeply into the dream, and the negative aspects of it became clear to him. So Belsky is saying something, by the way, I'm not very clear about this, but there is a book that's out there in a movie, L'Havdal, Alfei Havdalot. There is a movie and a book called The Secret. I've never heard of it, don't get into it, but The Secret is something similar to this. Actualization of seeing something and bringing it into fruition by your seeing, which Rav Belsky says was something that Bil'am tried to do. Okay, he tried to see the Jews in a light that is bad, and then bring that out. In fact, the Gemara says, How was he knew the exact moment? What could he do at that exact moment to curse the Jewish people? The Gemara says, right? The Tosfot asks that question.
Kalem.
Tosfot says he can say kalem, which means to destroy.
Finish. Destroy them.
He can destroy. And one word he can do it, says Rav Belsky, he sees something bad. With that one bad sight, he can put that into actualization and he can bring it out. The only problem was...
Why didn't do it?
Why
because
not?
Hashem didn't let him.
Because if you look too clearly at the Jewish people, you'll see that they're tov me'od. If you look deep at every single Jew, you can see only the good. When Bil'am was trying to see a little bit here, a little bit that, a little bit this, a little bit that, he could see only the good. Because even if you're trying not to see the good, if you go deep down, when it comes to a Jew, you would only see the good. And says Rav Belsky, what's the lesson for us? Even when you encounter a Jew who seems to have many negative qualities, or seems to be going in the wrong direction, whichever that person is for you, your job is to discover the good within him. Find his shoresh. Find the root neshama that is chelik me'elokai mimal. See that in him. And then when you see that, you actualize the goodness that this person can be doing. You've now given him a beracha. A bracha is not just Yivrech Hashem Yishmarecha. It's not just saying you should have this, this, and that. You have to see that person, his neshama, who he is, the essence, the shoresh of him, what midot he has, and then in your mind, bring out that goodness in your mind. That gives him the beracha. Says Rav Belsky, and you see a person in a bad Jew, you think a difficult childhood. He received a bad education. He came from a broken home. If only we could bring out the beautiful and wondrous qualities that he has in his neshama, his true personality would shine forth. That is our lesson to learn from Parshat Balak, says Rav Belsky. To see the actual Jew, the actual Yid, the Pintel Yid, whatever you want to call it. All right? The neshama of a Yehudi, the chelik elokai mimal. You have to see that and then actualize the goodness from that. And what does this remind me of? This famous saying of the Apter Rebbe. He said, he was learning Parshat Balak, and he told his Hasidim, Parashat Balak is a Rashi Tevot for V'ahavta L'recha Kamocha. So like Rabbi Shevach says, Hasidim said, even the Hasidim said, what's that? V'ahavta is a Wav, it's a Vav, right? L'recha, okay, Lamed, and Kamocha is not a Kuf, it's a Kav. So said the Apter Rebbe, if you're always going to look so carefully, you're never going to have Haftarei Kamocha. In order to have Haftarei Kamocha, you have to not be able to look to every single problem. Rather, what you have to do, is like Rav Belsky said, look for the good in them. Look, keep digging till you find their shortage, the neshama. And then you actualize good from that. Say, wow, this neshama, it's a chelik, he can bring, he can stuff, he can learn Torah, he can do all these things. And you actualize that. That's the beracha that you give them. Now you know why you go to tzaddikim and rabbanim and chachamim for berachot? Because they see so well. They don't just see the black and white that's on the page. They see further and further. They're able to do pipulim, right? They're able to see the neshama of that person. Once they see the neshama of that person, then what can they do? They can actualize the goodness. They can think about triggering the goodness of that person. That brings berachot, right? And if has v'shalom, has v'halilah, you upset the Chacham or the Rebbe or whoever is the Admor it is, he sees you also. And if he actualizes bad things, that can affect a person very, very bad. That's what the Gemara Chazal tell us. Be very careful with them. You cannot, how many people in the Gemara, it says the rabbi looked at them and they became a heap of bones. They lasered them, right? Because they saw who they were. Be very careful. Be very, very careful. So the lesson here, Rabotai, is to see the actual neshama of the person. Stop looking at the exteriors. Okay. Unfortunately, we deal with a lot of people, a lot of boys for shidduchim. Girls also, they're not exempt from Misilda, but boys especially. There's a new thing. I want to see the picture of the girl. Well, what's this picture of the girl? This is the same guy who's sitting and learning yeshiva all day long, and tzniut, this and that, and all of a sudden he wants to see the picture of the girl. And then they have the chutzpah to say, oh, I don't like this angle. I want to see another angle of the girl. No. What's this?
Profile.
Well, what's this? Where did this come from? Just this week I heard such a thing. I can't believe what I heard. A boy was set up with a girl. He asked her picture. She had red hair. He says, I hate red hair.
What?
Doesn't like red hair.
Oh, red.
I hate it. And apparently this girl got rejected from many boys because she had red hair. And the family now wants to dye her hair. So it's a different color. What nonsense is this? What's the color? Hi, if you don't want red hair, you don't say I hate it, this and that. You don't put down the girl. What's this nonsense? What's?
I think it's beautiful.
I'm on the same boat with you. But apparently there's all this craziness out there. And so there's this craziness out there. I will tell you, what is going on? What is going on with the Jewish people? What is going on with us? Why are we allowing these boys to dictate what they want? When I was going on shidduchim, first of all, in our circles there was no shidduch resumes. Maybe there was back in the time, but at least in the Bahrain circle there was no shidduch resumes. One person and the other person, they talked, they made, talked, and you went out. Okay, today they have shidduch resumes. Fine, shidduch resume. You want to make it right. You want to put your life on paper. Fine, very nice. But picture sending. I'm not here to break the mold and tell people to stop doing what they're doing. But be'emet hadavar, what are you looking at? Their parents. Go out. If she really is repulsive to you, you say it in a nice way. I went out with girls more than once or twice with different dates that I felt I was not attracted to them. I gave them a very good time. I still gave them the 2-3 hours what it was. I brought them home, everything, and then I told the shachan after the first date. Sometimes they may go on a second date, but after the first 1 or 2 dates, I said, I don't think it's going to go. And I got to tell you, one time we didn't use a shadchan, and my mother had to call her mother. My mother had to call her mother and tell her it's not going to go. It was after 2 dates. I was forced to go out a second. I said, no, but you don't want to hurt the girl's feelings also. So I went out a second time, and I came home, and I told my mother, it was Friday, it was Erev Shabbat. I told my mother, it's not going anywhere. It's not going to happen. It's this girl is a very nice girl, very good midot and everything, but it's not. I'm not attracted to her. I can't do it. So she called her mother, and her mother was so pleasant. I was near the phone when this was happening because I felt bad. Also, I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. And the mother of this girl said, "There's a lot of fish in the sea. If it's not for him, it's for someone else." And I was so relaxed after this because I was very nervous. I don't know if you know me. I'm a sensitive guy. I don't like hurting people's feelings. So it was so nice to hear this, that they understood this. I'm sure maybe they were broken as well, but at the same time, we have to realize that. And we can't be picky. We can't look at the appearances. Yes, the Gemara says you have to be attracted to her. And you have to look at her before you get married, because you have to attract to her. But there's difference.
Should be in person.
100% in person. You don't see the full person. Picture doesn't make justice. The camera adds on pounds. The lighting is not so good. Okay? And to make...
You cannot find anyways.
To make matters even worse, Rabotai, someone mentioned AI. Okay? So AI today, I'll tell you the truth. AI makes images of realistic looking girls. Okay? Now AI knows that one of the things the scientists tell us would make someone more beautiful and pretty is the symmetry of the face. Both sides being very symmetrical, looking very alike. Because every human on planet Earth is asymmetrical. There is nobody with a completely symmetrical face. The more symmetrical your face is, the more prettier and beautiful, handsome you look. Some people have 90%, some people have 80%, some people have 50%, depending on what they are. AI is able to create the 100% symmetrical face, which looks very, very, very beautiful. And they look very, very, very realistic. And now these pictures are going around, and you don't even know if they're real or fake. And now they're full with images of fake girls, and now all of a sudden their appetite is on a different level. And now they want something else because they're seeing something else. And unfortunately, it brings a lot of problems to the Jewish people because of that. And what we have to teach them is to look further, not just at their appearances, but look at their neshama, look at their midot tovot, look at who they are. And the same thing for the boy, back to the girl to the boy. Also, there are girls also very shallow and stuff like that, whether it be money, whether it be looks, whatever it is.
Before they get married, they're all faking. You cannot find out anyways.
Everyone, He's saying they put on a lot of makeup and they put a lot of hair extensions and stuff.
The fake acting.
So we don't have time to talk about that right now.
This was
You're not
always.
find out. Even if you live
No,
with your
no,
wife 20
but
years,
this,
you're not gonna find out.
but this was always
You'll
like
find out in
this.
5-6 months.
This
So
was
we'll
always
end
like
off.
this.
Until
Yeah,
people
I'm gonna
get
end it.
married, they don't
I'm
know
gonna-
each other.
Okay.